Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have a nice game to share with you from round 1 of the 2024 FIDE World Rapid and Blitz Team Championships. On the white end, Liren, playing against International Master Aslan Aitbayev. Okay, on board we have French Defense Advanced variation. White reinforces here with c3, the d4 pawn. And after bishop d7, where to go with this light square bishop in the game? Goes to e2. If you play in the more active post, d3, black can launch a quick attack against d4, and the bishop gets in the way of the queen. She doesn't see d4 now, and black is threatening to take d4 here. So for instance, after castles, black can take in this way, and note, there is no bishop b5 check, since the bishop is on d7. Can't win the queen here. So in a way, what might we say here? Bishop d7 does play a role in influencing white's light square bishop. It goes to the more modest e2 square. The queen remains free to defend d4, anticipating this pressure. Okay, from here, knight g to e7, castles, knight g6, g3, white's ready to get going with the h-pawn. In the game, this knight ends up getting demoted, ends up being cornered. Black continues here with bishop e7. Now, some food for thought here. In looking at the Lee Chess Masters database, the move that scores best for black, not the greatest sample size, we're just talking about 25 games, but still, f6 scores best. In fact, black scores 7% better than white with f6. Compare that with bishop e7. White scores 14% better than black. Again, not the greatest sample size, but still. Now, if I'm going to take out this f6 move just a little bit, immediately challenging, trying to overtake the e5 pawn, how does this look exactly? Let's say white continues as he does in the game. In this case, with h4, h5, notice how things would be significantly different for this knight. The bishop can now be planted on d6 since there isn't an e5 pawn, and if the knight is given a kick, it says, fine, I'll just go here. Okay, doesn't have this square in this game. As mentioned, it ends up being cornered. In the game, we have bishop e7. In comes h4, and black simply castles here. And this pawn continues to roll. Attacks the knight, goes to h6. If black tries to interfere with this pawn push idea with, let's say, h5 on this move 9, this is just going to be a target for the bishop or queen. And if black tries to just go one step, at least saying you could go one step, but you're not going to go to h6, it's still pretty uncomfortable for black, interfering now with castles. Computer's even pointing out here, capture, bishop d3, prepared to swipe the knight, and then the coordination is really messy for black, to be sure. Okay, in this game, it's the simple castles, h5, only square for the knight, h6, punching a hole now in the f6 square, one way or the other. Capture, push, f6 becomes a hole. In the game, it is g6. One of the top moves in the computer's eyes here, g5, at least making white think a bit here about the stability of the knight. In cases of a capture on c5, this pawn is ready to give the knight a kick, and then this pawn could be won. Additionally, with the pawn on g6, this knight at least has a legal move. The g6 square is available. Okay, g6 is played in this game. Pop quiz. How would you continue here? What would be your plan in this position? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, Liren continues with this capture on c5. Now, it may seem a little bit weird because just a little bit ago, move 4, c3 was played for what reason? To reinforce the d4 pawn, but now there's no d4 pawn. Why is he playing in this way? Well, his big idea here is to continue with c4. He's trying to simply crack open the center, exchange as many pawns as possible. Now, how did he come to this conclusion? Why is he going for this plan? Why did he change his mind? Right? With c3, way back when, it was to reinforce d4, but now all of a sudden he's giving up d4 and playing with c4. Who influenced this decision? This guy. This is a great thorn in Black's side. This king is forever vulnerable. White has the safer king here. The plan is to exchange as many pawns as possible. Let the position open up. This king will not feel comfortable. White knows here that in order for this knight to play, this pawn is going to have to move. And when it does, this diagonal here is that much more weakened. He's trying to break down the black pawns along this diagonal. Good things will happen for white as more pawns are exchanged. The tactics will be in white's favor, having the safer king. Okay, we continue with f6. C takes d, knight takes e. Continue to develop. Pair of knights are exchanged. Black says, let's try to keep it a little closed with e5. White says, nope. Let's open it up. d5 now opened for 3 pieces. There's a problem on b7 as well. There's not really a good way to defend it. Black continues here with knight to f7. If rook b8, hang on, queen d5 will soon pick up the bishop. If black tries to play in a different way, let's say queen b6, hang on. There's this check and this very nice move, queen f3, targeting f6. What do you do about that? This is also an idea, knight to e4. That's soon to be a disaster. If black tries to cut out knight to e4, guess what? White can still play here. And in this position, at minimum, this bishop will be tracked down. And if the knight is captured here, here's just a simple example of how this opened position can quickly lead to big trouble for black. It'll soon be mate on g7. No time to even take the pawn. That guy's pinned. Okay. In this game, d6 is met with knight f7. There goes the b pawn. Bishop d5. Black continues here with bishop h3. This is considered a losing move. Turns out this threat on the rook isn't really an inconvenience. Rook e1 turns out to be purposeful. It likes bishop d4 best, some coordination on the queen side. In the event of bishop d4, this best move, it likes this idea, bishop e3, immediately challenging the piece in white's house. And this is what it has its eye on, an eventual queen g5 move. Okay, bishop h3 is played on this move 19, rook e1, bishop d4, and now, after bishop e3, move played in the game, in the event of bishop captures bishop, we're simply recapturing with the rook. In this game, it's rook b4. Black's trying to hang on to the d4 point, but this guy is not stable. He's given a kick, doesn't budge in this case. Black continues with bishop captures bishop. White's going to soon be playing up the exchange. If black, instead of capturing the bishop, captures the knight, simplest, I believe, is to recapture with the pawn, not even take the exchange. With this last capture, white would now have 2 connected passed pawns. Perfect coordination. Still no way to track this pawn down successfully. All right, in this game, it's bishop captures bishop. Pawn captures rook. This is black's only square to work with. White says, I don't even want you to have that. It's targeting d4. Bishop b6. There goes the a-pawn. Still can't collect this guy. Back to central with the knight. You can forget about knight or bishop d4 moves. The knight is on that square. King h8, finally out of that pin. That was a long time to stay in a pin. I believe it was 7 moves. Black was in a pin there. All right, follow up. Rook a6, queen b7, and giving some material right back. Why not? Very forceful. He has a clear idea. Just capturing away, bishop captures knight. In the game, it's rook captures bishop. If queen captures knight, instead, white can continue in this way and be fine with, let's say, queen exchange. This is completely winning ending. No time in this position to even track down that pawn because there'd be a back rank mate. Yet again, another example here of the power of this h6 pawn. In fact, look at the bishop and pawn hemming the black king, and he's stuck in the corner. Okay, nice plan here. Pawn on b7, rook on a8. Plenty of ways to approach this position. All right, in this game, though, bishop capture on f7 is met with rook captures bishop, queen d5, queen b7. Let's just activate the rook. Rook f8, rook a7, and after queen b6, final move here. Feel free to pause the video, see if you can spot move 33. Okay, here we go. Queen f7. This final move highlights the power, yet again, of that h6 pawn. 2 mate in 1 threats, and in the event of rook captures queen here, white would have a back rank mate. The black pieces do not coordinate on any of these squares. All you have are blocks at this point, and the white rook vacuums up those pieces. Checkmate right around the corner. All right, in this one, though, after queen f7, black simply resigns. So, what'd you think of this one? Anyhow, feel free, as usual, to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.